Hey, all right. Still talking about what's Black love got to do with it. Focusing on this one, the Nubian Kingdom of Kush.
So please take time to go to WeBuildLegacy.com and download your copy of What's Black Love Got to Do with It. We do appreciate it, and making sure that you also visit our not face, but YouTube page. And please subscribe to our channel, WeBuildLegacy.com. Make sure you like and comment on these particular videos.
We want to know what your thoughts are. We want to hear what you would add to the story. We're really excited. We are still talking about an African context for Black couples. And so we started this whole thing off talking about what the European context was, the historical context, how we got where we are now. We've deconstructed that. So now let's talk about some of our ancient civilizations, some of our ancient peoples, and how they did things. I'm going to let you know now, these amazing queens of Nubia. Their names, some of them trip me up, but it'll be easier if you follow in the resource. So make sure you go download it if you have not already. They're bulleted points. It's just things to point out. There are links there that you can push for yourself and explore more. So we invite you to do that. All right. And we're about to get started. So here we go. Here we go. See you in a minute.
The Nubian Kingdom of Kush, sometimes referred to as Ethiopia by the Greeks and the Romans. In present-day southern Egypt and northern Sudan, Nubian civilization can be traced back to Kerma, one of the earliest developed indigenous societies in that region, which emerged thousands of years before the First Pharaonic Dynasty in Egypt. There are more than 250 pyramids marking the burial grounds of Nubian leaders, although some were partially destroyed when European archaeologists set off explosives and plundered them looking for treasures. As neighbors, Nubia and Egypt have been trade partners, military allies, and foes. And at one point, Nubia conquered Egypt and established its own Egyptian dynasty. Nubia is said to have been heavily influenced by Egyptian culture. However, recent evidence suggests that Nubia and Egypt developed side by side, each with their own unique culture. One area where cultural differences are clearly shown is in the leadership roles of women in Nubia. While some Nubian queens ruled without kings, Nubian empires were known for having co-regents. These queens were crowned alongside the kings, had pyramids of the same stature, exercised power jointly, and commanded armies. Queens of the Kushite kingdom, also known as Candaces, led multiple successful resistances against Rome, who consistently tried to conquer it. Candace Amanirenas was known as the One-Eyed Queen. Her husband had died, but she continued what turned out to be a 5-year war with Rome to protect the Kushite people from being conquered as Egypt had been conquered. She battled back and forth with Caesar Augustus, the first ruler of Rome, considered by some one of the world's greatest leaders. His failure to subdue the Nubian queen led to a peace treaty. As evidence of these encounters, when archaeologists excavated one of the Nubian temples, they found the head of the statue of Augustus. It had been buried there, where it would always be under the feet of the Nubians. There are 10 sovereign ruling queens and 6 that ruled as co-regents with their husbands. Some are listed below. Shanak Dekete, 177 BC to 155 BC. Amani Reines, 40 BC to 10 BC. Amani Shikate Keto, 10 BC to 1 AD. Amanitori, 1 AD to 20 AD. Amanititere, 22 AD to 41 AD. Amanikateshan, 62 AD to 85 AD. Malikorobar, 266 AD to 283 AD. Mahi Deamani, 306 AD to 314 AD. Like the men, women rulers were called Kore, meaning ruler, and some were called Kandike, meaning queen mother. Queen mothers were often depicted as powerful, with more masculine features, and full of figures in their artwork. There was evidence of a different standard of beauty than what was shown in Egypt. Some married co-regents were known to have facial markings, which were common in Central Africa. The Kemetic religion lasted for 3,000 years in Nubia, where Isis is one of the deities worshipped as the queen of all gods, goddesses, and women. Women were also spiritual advisors and priestesses in Nubia. Christianity reached Nubia, modern-day Sudan, and replaced the Kemetic religion that was prevalent in the region as Nubia was fading in power toward the end of 1 AD. The Meroitic language and writing system existed from about 300 BC to 400 AD in the kingdom of Kush, and is believed to be derived from Egyptian hieroglyphics. However, scholars are still working to understand and decode the language, which has both cursive and hieroglyphic scripts.
Okay, guys, so I wanted to start this particular section off because I wanted to say these are some bad sisters. These sisters had some long names that meant something. And I wanted to over exemplify, if you ever had a problem with your shape, these were full figure women that were ruling. They were so fine that there's proof. You look on the picture right here, these women, they took their time and made sure that they carved in all those hips, tips, lips, and fingertips.
I'm not dealing with you today.
Look, full figure women. You got a problem with your shape, and you were goddesses, you were queens, you were rulers. And you going around trying to look like, see, little, yeah, I'm about to say something wrong, but what I am about to say is that you brought out some good text here, Dr. Dula. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Our women need to feel good about themselves, to understand that it's okay. And I know this comes out in the next part, but it's okay to be boisterous. It's okay to be dominant. You know how people say about our Black women that, why you got to be so mean? Why you got to be so loud? And Black women are so, you know why? Because your ancestry are dominant and are rulers. We as Black men should support our Black women and stand behind them and protect them and boost them up and encourage them to walk in their dominance and walk in their leadership. That's what I do to my queen. And I don't allow that to interfere with my masculinity, but what I do is accept her feminine qualities, energy, and we combine our energies together to rule. And we don't come at those falsified ideas of what Black queens look like to other cultures. Now, what we've done is spend all these particular sections to make it up to this point, to hope that you would have the courage to stand on your own ideas of what a Black woman, an African woman looks like. And so what we are encouraging you to do is to redefine those ideas for yourself, to have be self-determined, to name, create for yourself, speak for yourself, and have these ideas about yourself, to love yourself and to love your partner.
You know, I think for me, you know, you talked about standing behind the support. I always wondered when I was young, I never wanted my husband to fight for me, you know, and that's just me. I'm one of them chicks that's like, listen, go back to back, don't let nobody get my back. Okay, I got this part right here. I got this. You just make sure don't nobody come. Don't let nobody sneak up on me. All right. And it's just it wasn't the easiest thing to be because, you know, my father had all girls and he taught us all to be very independent. I would tell you how daddy said it. But daddy did everything. He was like, listen, take these keys, you get in the car, and you go and you drive to the movies yourself, you drive yourself. I ain't gonna say it the way my daddy said it because people get offended and stuff. But daddy, good Deacon Little, you know, daddy said, I'll say his other word. He said monkey. Okay. Monkey don't want to act right. You get back in your car and you come on. Don't tell me nobody wouldn't bring you home. Don't tell me whatever. He was serious. Daddy was serious. He was like, don't tell me that somebody wouldn't do this or wouldn't do that. He wanted us to be independent. And so I didn't lose that just because I got married. You know, I didn't lose that just because I have a husband. You know, when we won our first, biggest arguments when we were first engaged or married.
We were engaged.
You know, I done painted rooms. We done laid carpet. We done some stuff. And he gives me a paintbrush when we first get married.
No, we
one
were
of them engaged, one of them little twirly cute ones that spins that you use for the corners. And he says, okay, Andrea, well, you paint the corners. Now, I know some of y'all are like, why didn't you just, girl, you got to learn how to step down. You got to learn how to let him be the man. You got to just learn how to, okay, but this is the point, okay? First, I was 21. The corners. Bro, I done painted rooms before. He was learning how to paint. And he gonna tell me, you just take the corners. Excuse me? You know,
I did.
But it's okay because like I said, different people gonna deal with that differently. For somebody gonna be like, step back and let the man do it. There's a time for that. You know,
let's stay right here for a second because that's when a lot of power structure and relationships are hurting. You know what I'm saying? If that doesn't feel right to you, see, but then we following all these other ideologies.
But that's because they don't know what kind of power couple they are. And that comes up later. You haven't acknowledged yet the way you see relationships.
Teach.
And that's why that comes up like it does. When you don't know, look, I'm looking more for like an egalitarian, like a, you know, for us to share our power. And we both agree that that's what's going to happen, which is what we did. You know, it's like when our babe.
And that was hard because we were taught, again, relationships in one power dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
And coming from an African perspective, you know, and again, as we were looking through the research, and it says even right here, it says that was it here?
What was it about, man?
It was about how Christianity was in.
We didn't get there yet.
We didn't get there. No. I thought we read a little bit about that.
It reached Nubian. Modern day Sudan and replaced the Kemetic, but we didn't get to the other part yet.
Okay, am I jumping ahead a little bit?
Yeah, you're jumping ahead again.
Okay, well, anyway, I just wanted just to share the fact that, you know, when we're dealing with the diversity of lifestyles in Africa, it didn't come from one perspective that just swept the whole land of Africa. There were so many different,
like the dirt, like that dust storm.
Oh, that dust storm that came from. Yeah. It's 2020, and we just had a dust storm.
You have to. They know. I'm just saying. But my point is that, you know, when it comes down to it, it's gonna be different. Mm-hmm. We all gonna see stuff in different ways. Right. We're here to help you have a way to identify that.
That's right. And look at other alternatives.
Yeah. So, as we continue on, we're going to talk a little bit now about Ethiopia. It's a beautiful thing. Just acknowledging that we have our own place to look back to is a beautiful thing. And we do. We do not have to choose what's set before us.
So take your time right now, if you haven't already, to download your copy of WeBuildLegacy.com. I'm sorry, at the WeBuildLegacy.com. Download your book of What's Black Love Got to Do with It.
It's a free resource, y'all.
It is free, along with these commentary talks. We're having so much fun. We're hoping you guys are enjoying yourselves.
And we're hoping to see your comments below. We want to know what you think about what we're saying.
That's right.
Good or bad, you ain't got to agree. Hey, that's what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Come through like a dust storm.
So go ahead, go to our YouTube page, We Build Legacy, and like, share the video, comment, and also subscribe.
Yes. See you in a minute.